for example, around here, it would be nice to have an area where I can do yard work, or put a yard in and then start in this area. Okay, we are here. Off we go. So this shouldn't take like this is quite a small field. Anyway, we'll do at least 3 of these, I think. Might fit in more. I do like this area, it's just that there's no flat ground around here to actually build on. And you can mess with the editing tool, but to be honest, doesn't work too well. You end up frequently with land that's just completely unusable because you messed it up. Yeah, this contract will cover the cost of all the fertilizer we just bought. I guess. Not been up to much. Actually, I started a co-op farm with my daughter this week on the Little Norton map. We're doing a start from scratch, so got about 4 fields and no money, which is fun. Be interesting to see how far we get. Of course, she wanted to add the easy developer toolkit so she could cheat in a bunch of money, sort of. That completely defeats the objective of starting from scratch. So, not playing with that mod. But we are playing with the buy second-hand equipment because you kind of need it.
Well, we need the money.
No, we don't. You work to make the money. Money doesn't grow on trees. You do contracts with the equipment you have, or borrow. But if you borrow the equipment, then you do lose some income, because it's not your stuff. And she was complaining about the plough. Oh, this is taking so long. We need a bigger plough. If you want a bigger plough, you need a much bigger tractor. And to get a bigger tractor, you need much more money. So that's not happening. Okay. So that's one lap. We're 77% down. Still need to do herbicide on my fields, but they don't seem to be growing. That's the problem. outside of that, I've been playing a bit of World of Warships just because it's a fun game. But I think the latest round of missions I've got to, I figured I need to play 200 battles in about a week, and no, I'm a casual player, I don't play that many. So I think the mission sequence I'm now doing, I'm done with. If I get to earn stuff, I get to earn stuff, but it's not, I'm doing this to completion. It's never going to happen. Swing that back that way, and done. Watching Millennial Farmer this week, he's not had a good time of it this year. It's like the lack of rain meant his crop was really bad, and now he's had storms with almost 5 inches of water, which has left the crop flattened. So what little crop he did have is pretty much destroyed on a lot of his fields. Fortunately for him, he has a YouTube channel and merch and stuff, and probably insurance, crop insurance, so other income streams so that it's not a complete disaster that it would be for other farmers. Taylor, welcome, good morning to Saturday. Yeah, I mean, it was something watching, what's it, Jeremy Clarkson's farm. He got to the end of the year and he's sort of, oh, well, we made £787 from the entire year from 1,000 acres. And he was asking his sort of farming guru guy, you know, how do other farmers cope with this? And it was basically, not well, was the reply. And Jeremy has the advantage of an Amazon filming crew, his fame, and a good stipend from Amazon to film his farm. But he's sort of, you know, if other farmers are making this amount, you know, how do they feed the family? How do they pay their taxes, their rent, whatever? And it's sort of, yeah, on $700 a year, you don't. Not an issue in Farm Sim, however. Although it looks like Farm Sim 22 is going to contain a little more realism to it. Because we will get, you know, on 1 day per month, and with maybe 2 months to harvest anything, we will get clobbered by the weather. I just noticed the ground's dried up today. But, you know, the way we're doing it, because we're playing 3-day seasons, this is 1 month. So I've got three days to do work for this 1 month. If this was shortened and it was raining on this day, I just lost that entire day. If it's raining again the next day, I'm not planting wheat for the year. If it's raining on what would that be, March, then I'm not planting barley that year. So it's all kind of a mess. Yeah, it's like what's it? Another YouTuber I watch, This Farm Wife. They are primarily a beef cattle producer, but they do grow. Obviously, they have a lot of pasture. They grow sorghum for this year for silage to feed the cows. and then they'll grow wheat and soybeans as a cash crop. So they can, so long as it ends up harvestable, it's another source of income. Plus, she's on YouTube, and I think her husband, I think he sometimes gets frustrated, put the camera down and do some, do the work you've said you were going to do. However, he does appreciate the fact that there is an income stream there. And when bad things do happen, they have that money that they can make use of. I mean, it's not a thing, And the thing is with those guys is, it's not that their YouTube income could replace their farming income. It doesn't. But it does. And if they stopped farming, they wouldn't have a YouTube income. So, they have to do their primary job to get that extra stream on the side. I know another farmer I watch is UK Norfolk-based Ollie's Farm. Ollie's Farm? Yeah. And he's looking at all sorts of additional stuff he can do. He's basically at the moment he's got a single tractor. He's got an old vintage tractor which I believe last I remember was being renovated because it was a little bit the worse for wear. But he does cows and sheep, and so that's his thing. In past years he's, I guess, leased out some of his fields for things like carrots. He does sugar beets, barley, and the arable crops are there to also make him money, but he's also going into wood chipping, and I think next year he's looking at providing contract work. So he's got a fairly nice, I think 6 Series John Deere, which is fairly capable. He's got cultivators and seeders. He doesn't have a harvester, so when it comes to harvesting he has to hire in a contractor to do that for him. But I don't think his farm's not really the size he could justify a modern harvester. And vintage harvesters tend to be difficult to keep working at times, and if you're concentrating more on your animals than you are on your vintage equipment, then that can be a thing. I think a couple of years ago he was talking about chickens as well, but he decided against that, at least in the short term. He's got livery stables capability, I think. He's been working on building that up, so he can board horses for their owners. He's set up a riding circle around one of his fields that the horses can exercise on. Oh, there we go, we're done. Fold that away. So we'll top this off, we'll get paid. And fertilizing, we got 39 and 32, I think. Oh, hang on, 39, 32 and 33. Well, those all sound like they're over here somewhere. Maybe. Where's 39? Oh, 39's along the main road. So if I do 32 next, then 33, then 39 maybe. So 32. And 32 is going to take way more than one load of fertilizer from these tanks. Yes. Yeah, I think so too. I mean, especially, yeah, even in Farming Simulator, I am constantly having to feed my sheep. Although that's more a case of because of seasons as opposed to because of the game. Yeah. For some reason the brake wasn't working too well there. But yeah, I mean, if I was playing vanilla game, I could feed the sheep, load up the troughs, and that's 10 days worth of food, and I wouldn't have to worry about them for the rest of the year, which would be okay with me. But we are feeding serious amounts of food daily, to our sheep, and I mean, as we found today, it took up quite a bit of time just doing that. Oh, that was the wrong button. Let's press that one. There we go. And fill up the back tank. Then we'll jump over to the JCB and feed the thing. Digester. So, 15 bales to go. Yeah, 9 bales to go. I can't count today. Why aren't you stabbing? Oh, because I'm dragging it along the floor. Oh, let's stab. Yay. Yes, and yeah, that is part of the problem. I mean, it's kind of a struggle with. We've got 500 sheep at the moment, which is a third of the maximum capabilities on this map, and all the sheep fields are sort of, what is it? Stuck around the main farm. But, okay, that's that filled up. We can go back to here. We are full, and there's still a tiny amount left in the tank. I mean, in a way, at least with sheep, I mean, even this, with sheep, I've got to feed them carrots or sugar beets, I think. So that can be a little bit interesting, because obviously I have to do one of those harvests every year. But I put aside 30 crates, and that lasts me for the whole year. So that's growing stuff and keeping it lying around. With the bales, I've got sufficient fields that I'm growing probably 4 times as much clover as I actually need. So I end up selling a lot of it to the BGA, which helps with the digestate production, which means I'm getting cheaper or free stuff to put on the fields to make stuff grow. But conversely, doing something like if you do seasons and you add in precision farming, you have to spend even less time on your arable fields, because you can just stick your fertilizer on automatic, and it will add as much fertilizer that needs to be on the field, and then the next time you need to be at that field is when it needs to be harvested. So that's kind of a weird thing, I guess. And we want to follow the line. I mean, contracts is still a thing, but yeah, I kind of decided for 19 it did seem to me that animals are a lot of work for not a lot of return. Oh, let's raise that up. Whereas at 17 you could do a mix of sheep, cows and pigs and not get completely overwhelmed. But I think with 19 it's a lot more difficult, and on top of that, I mean, the food requirements aren't exponential, but they are quite severe. So yeah, for Maize Plus, the only downside is obviously these contracts need, because I'm running seasons 3 applications of fertilizer, but my fields do not. Now we do mess around a bit, put down digestate when we've got it, oilseed radish where we're growing a spring crop to reduce the cost of fertilizer, but it's just a one-time application and done. So not as, that's weird. So the graphics here, I guess I am seeing growth. So this is a crop I've not dealt with personally, I think. But it's sort of, I can see growth about a tractor length in front of the front tank, and then over there obviously something's growing, but where I'm driving you can't see much of anything, which is kind of weird. Okay, so I'm going to do this field like I did the last one. We do a straight cut across and then we'll do around the edges, that seems to work. And I did decide to go all in with maize. I mean, the nice thing about Maize Plus is because the sheep, at least, it varies per map, but the sheep on this map need mostly clover silage, clover hay, clover. You can mix and match with grass and other things, but clover doesn't rot when it rains, so I can do what I did this morning and just leave stuff in the feed trough area and not have to worry about, oh, it's going to degrade. It's not going to degrade, it's just going to get eaten. Whereas you make grass bales and they're gone in 2 days' time, and you make hay bales, and if you leave them outside and it rains, they're gone in a matter of hours, which isn't strictly speaking true. I mean, realistically what should happen is if you've got hay bales and you leave them out in the rain, they should probably decay 10-20%, but then that would be it. There's still going to be good hay in the middle where the rain doesn't get to. And the same if you stack them. The bales in the middle of the stack are not going to decay in weather. That would be a more complex scripting needed to model that realistically. But most of the farmers I watch online who are cattle farmers, just leave their hay in the fields, or in a field, not near the cows, because the cows will eat it otherwise. But yeah, they have points around the farm where they stack their hay. And Ollie's farm, I mentioned earlier, he tends to stack his hay in the field it's made, so he has multiple stacks of hay around the farm. But he said the reason for that, he could put them inside, which would protect them from the weather and mean that the entire bale is good for a long time. But he said the problem is if your hay catches fire, which it is wont to do, you lose a barn and all your hay. And the way he does it, because he has his hay spread out in different fields around the farm, obviously it's a little bit more work to go and fetch the hay furthest from the yard when the cattle are on the yard. But yeah, if one bale catches fire, he loses 25%, 20% of his hay, not 100% of it. So that's why he does what he does. We don't have that option, obviously. I mean, we could stack them all in different sheds, but they never catch fire, so it's not like it's a realistic issue for us virtual farmers. Anyway, so yeah, like I said, this field is going to use up way more than our carrying capacity of fertilizer. Like you can see, we've already been around this field once, so speaking from experience, this field is going to take way more fertilizer than we can carry, and was prompting me to consider I wouldn't go with a self-propelled sprayer, because that's £500,000 of extravagance. And to be fair, I mean, this setup serves us well. We don't have any really huge fields. Now, I can't spray all my fields in one go. I have to do them, do a few at a time. But I could get a trailed sprayer, which would give me probably double or triple the capacity of this setup, and not be exorbitantly more expensive. Oh, yeah. Hooked up on the hedge and on the tree. Let's turn the sprayer off and get out of there. Of course, as soon as we clear the tree, we've cleared the hedge too. So move that down a little. But with me, it's always a case of it would be really nice to have a $500,000 harvester, but the $200,000 harvester that I'm running does all the work I need it to do. And because we're producing 2 to 3 types of crop to harvest, it's not like we're overwhelmed. I've got to harvest everything in the next 2 to 3 days or we lose it. It's like I've got to harvest the barley in the next 2 to 3 days, but nothing else is ready to be harvested during that time. And once that time's over, I may have a day free, or a month free, because we're playing 3-day seasons, but I may have a month free before the canola needs to be harvested. And then I've got 2 days to harvest the canola, or 2 months to harvest the canola. So I'm never really overstressing my harvester. It just takes, functionally, a good number of hours. But yeah, if I wanted everything done in 10 minutes, why would I? Yeah, I could just cheat in $10 million and call it done, buy the whole map and say, yay, I won. But I'm playing this because I enjoy playing it, so it doesn't really matter if I have this thing and have to drive it to the store every 30 minutes to refill it, or a self-repair